Well, hello, my patrons. This is a little behind the scenes video again down in the basement. This computer here, which you may recognize as a blast from the past, I don't think I've shown this on the channel, but these are old home theater PC cases. This particular one made by Silverstone. Power switch, reset switch, couple USB 2.0s, has a drive bay on the front for your CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive. Essentially, this is an ATX case that you would put in your home theater setup because it's the same exact width as like a home stereo, like a receiver or cassette player or any of those things. So you can use a PC in combination with your television set. I've had this case, I think 20 years maybe not quite that long, but definitely early 2000s I got this thing. It's aluminium. I had blocked off the fan grill on that side. On this side, there's some fans here with little rubber isolation mounts. The reason for all that is this used to be my server, actually. So I use it for home theater duties. It was hooked up to a television set. And I also had a whole bunch of hard drives in here. 3.5-inch, like 6 terabyte drives. I think maybe 3 of them, not rated. And I stored all my media and other files and stuff, and I ran VMs on here, things like that. I think I ran Windows 10. Originally, it was sporting Windows XP Media Center Edition, and then Windows 7 Media Center Edition. I had a cable TV tuner with a cable card. I forgot the name of that tuner thing. I think I gave it away because I haven't had cable TV in forever. Windows Media Center remote with a little IR receiver. I mean, the whole 9 yards. This thing, it served me for a very long time. Haven't been using it in a long time because I have a NAS, which I use for the channel, but it also has Plex server on it with Plex Pass, and I even have a HD Home Run Ethernet dual tuner thing that a friend gave me. So I record my television on that so I can watch it on, my phone, tablet, computer, whatever. So this thing doesn't really do much anymore. Of course, the hard drives have long been removed. This thing now simply is the home theater PC that I might use occasionally for watching something I downloaded that doesn't play very well through Plex. Plex is pretty good. Occasionally I do need to use this, but more so, this is a really boring video. More so, I use this for gaming. So I have, I think there's a GTX 1050 in here, which I bought way before GPU prices went crazy. Like when that card came out, I stuck it in here. The reason why I got that is it could play X or H.265 video, the HVenc, NVenc, whatever stuff. And the CPU that is in here is like an Intel second generation. It might be 4th generation now. I can't remember. I've obviously swapped this motherboard, but originally, for the longest time, it was a 2nd generation. Or actually, no, it was a 1st generation Core i5. And that didn't have enough horsepower to play any kind of video like that. So with that card in there, let's pop the cover off. There it is. So there it is. GTX 1050. Cheap card. Has 3D performance of some kind, and yet it can play that kind of video. So that's really pretty cool. Obviously, there's the Intel stock cooler. A couple of these Arctic. What brand is that? I forgot. They were better than the ones that were in there that kept dying. And this thing ran 24/7, right? Because I had all the hard drives in there. The hard drives could mount on here, and look, there's even little rubber mounts there. Same right there. So for isolation. So I guess I had 2 hard drives in here, and I think there was a solid state drive that just sat down on the bottom there. And a long time ago, I'm blocking the light there. I'm stirring this so it doesn't do that. A long time ago, the fan in the power supply died. So because of all those fans on the side of the machine, right here, they were blowing out. They were exhausting out. So I managed the airflow with like pieces of plastic like this to keep air going in where I wanted. And that was blocking that. But air would go in right here to cool this top hard drive. Air would come in the back of the power supply, and then I have see it all blocked off, and it would come out there into the case. The whole thing ran very, very cool. Anyhow, the reason for this video is thanks to a patron who sent in a bunch of stuff to upgrade my various computers, which also is how this machine was upgraded, which of course I've made videos on. This thing, what is that? Radeon? No, not Radeon. Ryzen 5600U. And my machine upstairs was a Radeon Ryzen 2600, and that is now a 3700X, I think it is. Not K. K is for Intel. I think it's the faster of the 8-core processors. And the machine upstairs, my editing rig, forever had a GTX 1060, and now it has a GTX 3060 Ti, also a donation from a patron. Different person, but thank you very much. So it's time to upgrade this machine, and I'm going to use old hardware. And I got it right here. So there's this Cooler Master AO all-in-one water cooler. This was actually the one up in my machine upstairs for the longest time, but that one, thanks to that same person who donated the processor and the stuff for that lab computer, gave me a 240 millimeter all-in-one, so double size radiator. So I've taken that. Well, that one's up and installed, and this is what was up there. Then they sent an extra motherboard. So the CPU that's on here is a Ryzen 2600. That's the one that I had upstairs, which I took out and upgraded for the 3700 that's in there now. But this motherboard was sent along, and I thought this motherboard plus some RAM that was donated, I think it's 16 gigs, plus this all-in-one cooler, plus my old GTX 1060 SC. It's an EVGA card. Sad that EVGA is not making video cards anymore, because they honestly made some really great video cards. But that card, which is actually only a single fan, but that superclock card was a great performer, to be honest, until I replaced it with that 3060 upstairs, which of course has ray tracing and stuff. I hardly really notice much of a difference. I mean, I guess I don't play a lot of AAA titles, and the ray tracing stuff is like, it's cool, it's novel. In fact, I was playing Quake 2 RTX recently upstairs, and yeah, it's cool looking, I guess, but it certainly doesn't feel much like the original game. It's sort of, I don't know, a little too shimmery and reflecty and stuff. Maybe I'm just not used to it. Either way, for a regular rastered game or rasterized games that aren't ray traced, I only have like I don't know, the monitor upstairs is 2540 or 2560 by 1440 or whatever. You know, it's not 1080p, but it's the next one up. It's not 4K. It's only 60 hertz. It'd be nice if it had high refresh, but I don't have a high refresh monitor up there. And anyways, that card, honestly, that card with that CPU, which was what I used upstairs since I bought that card in, I think 2016, which incidentally, I have the original paperwork. I bought that card from Newegg. It was $200 in 2016. And honestly, it's still a very capable card. And it just shows how expensive GPUs have gotten. And yes, they're way, way faster, you know, with raw horsepower. But for 1080p gaming, that's honestly, like, I could often run that thing at, like, you know, max setting at 1080p, and it was fine. It was hitting 60 frames per second consistently. I mean, anyways, that processor's still pretty relevant. Anyways, I think it's time to ditch this Intel setup that's in here, put that Ryzen 2600 in here, put the all-in-one cooler in here. I'll take one of these fans out, and replace this 1050 with that 1060, and this will become my downstairs watching TV room. Oh, sorry, the furnace just turned on. It'll be my downstairs watching TV gaming machine. I have a wireless keyboard and mouse that I use with it, just a Logitech thingy. There's a little thing. And then I have Xbox 360 controllers with the little wireless receiver, and I use those as well. So Steam, runs Steam. I have tons and tons of games, a bunch of multiplayer stuff, bunch of single player stuff. And the TV I have down here is still only 1080p. It's old. I had it since 2008. It still works great, although an OLED TV might be my future sooner than later. But for now, the TV still works perfectly, so why not use it? And yeah, I think that this will be a fun little upgrade for this machine. So I'm going to do that upgrade right now. All right, we're back. Prepare for extreme jank. So, as I mentioned, this case is very old and not designed for things like water cooling or solid state hard drives. But obviously, we're up and running. I have to enter the BitLocker key because I've switched the motherboard out, and this is Windows 10, so it's gonna be unhappy. But yeah, okay. So first off, I couldn't put the radiator and the fan over here. Obviously, people watching probably were like, "Duh," and that's because there's not enough room because the fans have to be slim and they tuck in next to the motherboard. So those are the two original fans that are on there. I took that plastic card that's off on the back for more airflow into the case. We have the GTX 1060 Superclock. Oh, it shut down, by the way, because I didn't enter the BitLocker key. Normal behavior. So the 1060 Superclock is in there. Oh, and incidentally, take a look at this. The 1050 was also an EVGA card. Look how cute and stubby this thing is. I mean, performance is pretty crap on the 1050. I think this card is like twice as fast, actual pushing pixels wise. So it should be a really nice upgrade for the couch gaming down here in the basement. I did have two solid state drives in here. Well, okay, first of all, actually, the power supply, I switched it out from that sketchy, well, it was a good Seasonic, I think a Bronze Plus. It was old. I've had it a long time. I made the rationalization that upgrading the power supply to something that was efficient would actually save in the long run, because remember, this computer was running 24/7, and having like I don't know, it was some kind of inefficient power supply in here originally, and then I put that Seasonic in there. Whatever I spent on the Seasonic, I'd make that money back over the years of having it run 24/7 just because it was so much more efficient. And anyways, it came out, and this is an Antec 80 plus bronze, kind of an older power supply. I think this was in my computer upstairs. And before I got the GTX 10 or 3060 Ti, I had this in there. It's 380 watts, and it's good enough for 1060 Superclock and Ryzen 2600. So upstairs I have like 1,000 watt. I don't know, whatever, something. I think it's the I forgot what brand it is, Cooler Master maybe or something. Anyways, newer. This came out. I had to take the Seasonic out because it was so old that it did not have the video card connector for the power. And its motherboard power connector was only 4 pins. So this one is newer. It's got the video card connector, just one, and it's got a 4-pin or 8-pin motherboard connector. So that's good. Obviously, the radiator's over here. So remember, I had that blocked out there. That's gone. This actually does fit. There's one screw right here holding it in, so it is there. And the furnace just came on again. Sorry about that. It is in there, but I can't make it flush, even though it does fit, because the way the power supply is, it's hard to tell, but the bundle of wires comes out on this side, so this could go flush. But the thing is, the cooler lines are not quite long enough. So that's how it's going to sit. But with the case on there, I do feel air when I turn the fan to 100%. I feel air coming out. So that should do the trick. Water cooling on a 2600 is kind of silly. It's not really necessary. In fact, with the fan curves, the way I used to have it and the way it's set now, this fan actually stops. It does support the stop command. It's PWM, so it stops most of the time, unless the computer is busy doing something. So that way that fan's not even getting anywhere. I think this video card also supports fan stop. I can't quite remember. These, on the other hand, are only 3-pin fans. They're not PWM. And this motherboard only has a total of 3 fan headers. One for the pump, or the CPU fan, and 2 system fans. So this one is hooked up over here, and I set up the BIOS to have this fan run off the CPU temperature. And then there's only one more, and I don't have a fan splitter. So one of these is connected there, and I just, to be honest, set it at full speed. These run pretty slow and they're very quiet. The other one, though, this is not screwed in yet, is hooked up down here. I have one of these little AT things, so I soldered on the wire. So one of those is running off that now. So those are both powered. Let's see, put this back. No, it goes this way. Sorry, this is another terrible video. Anyway, okay, I'll screw that on in a second. Then we have the 2 hard drives just sitting right here. One of them was screwed onto the bottom of this bracket, which used to sit right here when I took the cover off the first time. The other one, this OCZ one, was actually just sitting right down there. It was just sort of sitting there. Well, I can't put that bracket on anymore because this is in the way. Even if this was flush, it still couldn't fit because it is hitting the fan. So that's gone. I'm not putting that back on. And these, they're just gonna live right here. They're not even attached in any way, but to be honest, I don't ever move this computer around. I put the lid on it, it goes back in the home entertainment thing downstairs under the TV, and it never ever moves. And the only thing I want to make sure is, it doesn't move itself into the CPU fan, but to be honest, I think right there, it's fine. It'll just catch right here. It'll stop moving over. And this is a problem potentially. I don't want this to go into the fan, so I don't know. I'll use some zip ties to get that stuff from going in the fan there. Same for that. I just have cables there. I think this thing is ready to go. So I'm going to power this thing, make sure it's working. I'm going to enter the BitLocker code to recover that. Always keep your BitLocker codes. Hard copies are preferable. Put it in a safe place or whatever. And then I'll make sure this is working. And I'm going to move it back into the room where the TV is and hook it all up. Let's see how this thing works. And here we are. And it's been a good amount of time since I was working on the PC because I hooked it up and I started playing stuff. And then more hours went by and many, many, many more hours went by. So yes, I'm sitting here on the couch, feet up, controller, keyboard. The computer is inside here. This is where it's stashed. There it is right there. And actually the back is open, so that gets plenty of air. Although the fans are running because I was playing a game that was maxing out the GPU. But yeah, big performance improvement from the last computer that was down here with that GTX 1050. This 1060 is far better. And Forza Horizon 4, this game, I mean, I know it's the older game, but I gotta say, it's pretty damn fun. I haven't bought the new one because there's so much to do in the old one. And I mean, the graphical improvements, whatever those might be, are minimal. And it's not like this thing has the horsepower for whatever ray tracing. I don't even know if it has ray tracing on the new one, but it runs at 60 frames per second at 1080p with all the settings looking really high, so everything looks amazing. And yeah, I really do like the old Xbox 360 controllers, and with the wireless receiver you can run 4 of them for multiplayer games like Pac-Man 256 and other fun games like that. Anyways, yeah, so I should have been working on a video today. It's Sunday, but no, I was playing video games instead. I gotta say, the computer down here hasn't been fast enough to play this, so I was always playing upstairs. And incidentally, I don't normally have the lights up as bright as they are in here. Everything is home automation, so I can lower the brightness down. Anyways, yeah, I usually play upstairs, and I have to say I much prefer having my feet up, of course if the keyboard weren't there, and keeping warm down here. I can crank the volume way up. I have the computer set for 5.1, so everything is running in multi-channel audio. It sounds amazing. Down in the basement here, the walls are concrete behind the wood there, so there's absolutely no worry about noise. Anyhow, that's how I spent my Sunday, plus doing some other stuff today. So yes, like I said, videos need to be made, but sometimes you just gotta have some fun. So there's a little behind the scenes down in the basement, working on the new computer, well, the old computer, new computer, to play some games when I need to relax a little bit. And now I can play games upstairs or downstairs. Upstairs will be good for first-person shooters because, mouse, keyboard. But controller games, on the other hand, this thing is going to be great for, and that's what I will use it for. I no longer have game consoles. I have an Xbox 360. It's over on that side. And that's the most recent game console I have. I had an Xbox One, the successor to the 360. I sold that. I sold it early. I had it for a little while, and I'm like, I'm never gonna use this. I sold it when it still had value. Now they're not worth anything, right? Because all those new ones are out. But why bother? Because these games in my Steam library just keep working forever. And it's not like I have to keep buying a new version of a game, or the game, I have stuff on the 360 that only works on the 360, and that sucks. I have games as old as the 360 on my Steam library, and they still work fine on this computer. Anyhow, boy, I'm babbling. That's it. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. I think I'm going to do like an end-of-year wrap-up for patrons. So watch for that. And it'll be posted in a similar place to this, I think, on the patron video system. I'm going to try using that versus YouTube, which is what I always usually do for these behind-the-scenes videos. So, yes, if you think this video was terrible, then let me know. And, yeah, there's stuff to get back to. Look at that. That's the Apple II. The one that has a keyboard that needs to be fixed. And I have a way to do that now, thanks to Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. That Atari. Oh, that one works, actually. I don't know why there's a piece of paper sitting on it. There's a computer down there that needs to be worked on, but look, if I scroll over here with the phone, there's a bunch of stuff that's sitting there that really shouldn't be down here. This is the couch. It's turned into storage. Yeah, the Russian computer, Acorn, Electron. It's over there, right there. There's a ZX Spectrum Plus 2 that needs a little TLC. That Atari, I think, needs fixing. There's monitors. Those work, actually. Those are just temporarily stored there. There is much more over there. I'm not going to scroll over there. I'm just going to go back to Forza, because, yeah, fun game. Okay, that is it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. And that's it. Okay, bye.